Food provides an outlet for cultural expression. The cuisine of a country, region, and community uniquely reflects that place's individual identity. Each plate is a carrier of culture, bringing with it the heritage of a social and natural landscape. Food and feasting have been frequent subjects in art throughout history. As both a form of survival and nourishment, as well as a symbol for traditions and geopolitics, food has brought art to life, becoming a common motif within paintings and sculptures across numerous centuries and artistic periods. For our April 2022 exhibition, Sur la Table, translated from French to mean on the table, we invited 6 artists to create artworks that portray what they would find on the table. From food to flowers, delicate pastries, and expensive alcohols, the works in this collection feature a mixture of styles, with some artists opting for traditional still life and others taking a more modernist approach. Bright, colorful, and delicious, this show is sure to whet your appetite. While our exhibition takes place in the 21st century, the connection between cuisine and art is rooted in history, with edible items making appearances in art from as early as the cave drawings. Journey with us on our brief history of food and art, and hear from the artists of Sur la Table on their inspirations and how their works fit into this artistic tradition. We typically associate food with art from the works created after the 14th century. From references to gods and goddesses, cultural cuisines, and social hierarchies, the food that appears in classic Renaissance or Golden Age works often represent the nuances of living during that period, using food to symbolize class status, economic standing, and religious inclination, from commoners to royalty. Classics like Leonardo da Vinci's The Last Supper, Johanna Vermeer's The Milkmaid, and more use lavish banquets, imperial allegories, rich colors, and religious and political context to capture food in its most realistic form. 2 of this show's artists, Kristen Blanc and Barbara F. Chack, are influenced by the Dutch masters, taking that era's techniques and adapting them for our contemporary viewers.
There is quite a dichotomy between the historic Dutch and the contemporary Dutch. And the historic Dutch tend to be a great deal of abundance and lushness, and it was all to signify wealth, whereas in the contemporary Dutch, there's a starkness that I think creates a drama. And that's the school of thought that I like to work with. I think that when you have just a few individual objects, they take on a great deal of significance, and there's no hiding in them. You have to really be spot on, whether it's with your draftsmanship or just your general composition.
My paintings are very inspired by the Dutch still lifes of the 17th century. And I would say, like in the 16th century, their expression of those paintings was really about the bounty of the Netherlands at the time, also always with a wink to mortality. So it's a little subtle in the paintings, but you'll see things that suggest mortality.
As art began to transition into the modern age, domestic scenes were still subject of works, albeit less prominent than during the traditionalist era. Cézanne proved that the table could remain relevant, even with modern painting techniques, as his impressionist still lives revolutionized the trajectory of modern art. Vincent van Gogh painted scenes of paupers eating a meal of potatoes in one of his earliest masterpieces. René Magritte's The Son of Man uses a hovering apple to create a surrealist unease around his painting, taking something as common as an apple to make viewers question what they're really seeing. Laura Bethman uses elements of modernist style to create the works in her Invitation series, forcing audiences to spend time looking deeply at each piece in order to fully understand it.
When we want to get to know someone better, we will invite them out for a drink or a meal. So that was the whole idea behind the invitations. I would invite somebody who I admired and wanted to get to know better. But the invitations are metaphorical because I will never get to meet any of these people because they're no longer with us. And so these invitations are paintings that are, in a way, a tribute to some of my heroes.
Contemporary artists like Andy Warhol and Kara Walker have explored different aspects of our food culture, such as globalization, imperialism, and consumerism. Warhol's Campbell Soup series, as well as his performance art, Eating Like Andy, critiques consumerist culture, highlighting how mass-produced food has an influential power over our society. Artists like Walker have gone even further and have actually turned food products into artworks. Her piece, Sugar Baby, uses sugar and molasses to create a commentary on imperialism and the historic slave trade. The most contemporary of artists in the show, Nina Michelson, combines design with multiple art styles to explore the culture here on the Eastern Shore through the food that we consume.
When I was thinking about the theme for this show, I really am kind of relating it to our beach culture here, the mid-Atlantic beaches, what we eat, how we celebrate our culture, how we come here from our stressed lives and we relax, we enjoy food, we enjoy family, friends, and the foods that go with that. We have shellfish, we have lobsters, we have light salads, we make guacamoles, we really kind of have this beach food culture as well, and that's sort of what I wanted to capture in my paintings.
While all the artists in this show draw from the fundamentals of art, it's ultimately the personal connection that serves as the basis for the table subjects. Jennifer Kahn Barlow uses her childhood memories to bring her confectionery creations to life, while Jan Crooker uses family heirlooms and personal pieces to build the perfect scene for each painting.
I grew up in a very food-centric family, and I think we're all shaped by our early childhood experiences, whether we realize it or not. My family at big family gatherings had food nicely laid out on the table and made sure that it always had a garnish. And before Instagram or Facebook was ever a thing, they were taking photographs of the food on the table. I used to roll my eyes and say, why are they doing that? That's so ridiculous. But it must have sunk in, because years later, upon discovering Will Cotton's artwork, something really sunk in and resonated with me. And the joy and the wonderful feeling that food gives of coming together and savoring this amazing treat that somebody spent hours or days baking is really just an amazing feeling. And I really aim to capture that in my work.
This is my it's called Red Crowfoot. It's an Art Deco red glassware. It belonged to my aunt. And so I didn't purchase that purposely, but this is my grandmother's teapot. Now, sometimes I actually do go out and purchase things. This teapot, which you see often in my work, I looked for a real dramatic teapot, and I found one on eBay. And so I bought it long distance because of its reflective quality and because of its really nice lines.
Sur la Table is on display from April 2nd to the 30th at the Peninsula Gallery in Lewes, Delaware. The entire show can be viewed online at peninsula-gallery.com.